Many people have asked why not here or why not in Hilton Head. I thank all the Hilton Head folks for traveling, coming that far, and spending the night. Hopefully you'll enjoy Lake City tonight, and it sounds like there's a better party going on somewhere else. So I think they were doing the wobble or something earlier. But you're here tonight because it's a special place to me, and I'll get into the why. But before I get into the why we're here in Lake City, I want to give you the why I'm in Rotary. And I've asked, at PETS, I asked the club presidents to find their why. Why do they give their time, their talents, their treasures? Why do the members do that? It's once you know your why, then I think you can continue to be engaged in Rotary, and you may then be able to tell your story so that somebody else comes and joins in the fun. So you try to come up with what your why is, and it comes back for me, and I know it's cliche to say it, but it's service above self. Everything, we participated in a myriad of activities as Rotarians, whether it's the events, the projects, and it all comes back to service above self, what we do in giving of ourselves. I call it the service bug, being in an active club in Hilton Head, becoming involved on the board, then as the committee chair, then part of the leadership team, and then a role as the Early Act project that we started up many years ago. It's teaching elementary age kids about Rotary, service above self, and using the 4-way test. And I always said, if I could teach my girls to just learn number 1 in the 4-way test, I've done my job. So hopefully they will learn. What is it? Number 1? Thank you. They learned it. I've done my job. We've been a Rotary family while the girls have been growing up. Both Hannah and Celia, as they said, they were presidents of Early Act. Had nothing to do with that. There was a vote. I just was the guy counting the vote, I'll just have you know, using the 4-way test. Now they're involved in Junior Interact and Interact in Hilton Head. The girls have taken part of service projects, fundraisers, and attended the International Convention, where I think they enjoyed pin collecting and running around and meeting the guy from Pakistan with the whole pin jacket on. That was the excitement for the trip, and we'll look forward to going to Houston next summer. Hopefully we'll see the same guy. The hope is that the girls will continue to give back into their adult lives. And this is something that I learned from my parents and am thankful for, that they instilled in me and led by examples. We as Rotarians need to lead the younger generations to come to know Rotary so that they can continue what we have done and our predecessors have begun. So why are we here in Lake City, opposed to Hilton Head? Stick with me. I promise I'll get there. Does anybody watch Andy Griffith? Yes. Anyone? Okay.
Andy Griffith.
Andy Griffith. Well, my family and I probably watched all the episodes. More than once. Jennifer will probably say 100 times. There's one episode that I want to reflect on. It's season 1, episode 12. You'll have to go look it up. But stick with me, there's a point. It's entitled Stranger in Town. Ed Sawyer is a mysterious stranger. He arrives in Mayberry, disrupts the lives of the townspeople because he appears to know everyone's name, intimate details about their lives, and startling facts about them. I can relate to Ed. Ed had no town that he called his own, but he came to know Mayberry through the local newspaper, reading about all of the townspeople. He became familiar with all of them, so much so that the townspeople wanted Andy to arrest him. For what? What did he do? He just wanted to be friendly and find his own hometown. Ed's only crime was wanting to feel welcome in a community that he knew so much about and have the residents accept him. I'm going to tie this into Rotary. I know you're wanting to know where I'm going, and yes, there's a point. I'll be coming into your communities. I may know some facts about the people, the details. I have an interest in getting to know you and the community and the people within your community better. I'll be looking at ways to do good in your communities so that I may be actually from off, as you might say, but I don't want to be treated that way or feel that way. Being a native South Carolinian, I look forward to seeing more of my state and getting to know the Rotarians and people in the communities. When I come to visit, if you want me to come around and see someone who is interested in being a Rotarian, I'm happy to talk to them. I look forward to it. Let's go visit them. If there's a public official or a partner in the community that you would like me to go speak with, I'm happy to go visit them and join in that discussion with y'all. So back to Ed. When I come to Camden, I may talk about Kershaw County Memorial Hospital like I know it. Well, I spent, I don't know how many days there. A week. I was born there. Same as my 3 older brothers were born in Camden. We didn't live there. We lived either in Lancaster or Elgin, or Lugoff. Thank you, Mom. Correct me. So there is a difference. You're right. But we visited back to that hospital. Dr. Paul Wood delivered us all. I'm partly named for Dr. Wood and thankful for Camden. So I know a little bit about Camden. If I go to Barnwell and I start talking about going to Burley's and drinking a cherry Coke, or if I talk about going to Stafford's and going shopping, or going to Mac's and looking at the Easter chickens, well, that was because we used to visit there with my grandparents. And I know a lot about Barnwell. Or when I go to Florence, if I talk about picking up pecans along the Florence-Darlington Highway, that's because we were there with my grandparents. Or visiting Central United Methodist Church, which is my dad's home church. All good memories of growing up in these communities that we may not have lived in, but we know some intimate details about. All right, Mom and Dad, I don't want folks here to feel sorry that I didn't have one hometown. So y'all know, we moved around about every 6 years or so. We weren't in the witness protection program. We were a Methodist minister's family, and that was what we did. And I'm thankful for the Methodist Church, as it's provided so much for me in my life and my family's life. Experiences we had in Lancaster, in Greenville, Spartanburg, Rock Hill, North Augusta, all are ones that make me and my DNA. So don't feel sorry for me that I didn't have one particular hometown. I have many towns that I call home. And one of those towns could be Lake City. So I told you I'd get here. The why I picked Lake City as an important event in mine and my family's life. Stick with me. My sister-in-law, Cheryl, is from Lake City, sitting in the back. Raise your hand, Cheryl. She married my brother, Ted, and if she wouldn't have done that, we might not have been here. But the real reason is a dog. Stick with me. Yes, the dog that happened to chase or cause my mother-in-law, Elaine Tanner, to wreck her bicycle. That led to the need for a physical therapist named Cheryl to work with her. During the physical therapy sessions, the two began to conspire about getting a banker and a teacher, former cheerleader, that's all I heard, together to watch a play in Lake City, South Carolina, at the Community Theater. A play that happened to have Roger in it, Ben, Grace, raise your hand, my niece and nephew. And if you didn't catch, Roger and Cheryl are brother and sister. If y'all didn't catch that. So a lot of family ties. Another reason that I would say this is part of why I would call here, my why of we're here, is Indiantown. Indiantown is where Jennifer's from, 16 miles away, that way. If you don't know where it is, I didn't know where it was either until I met Jennifer. I drove through it. You may have driven here coming through it. You didn't know you came to Indiantown. Jennifer and I were married in Indiantown Presbyterian Church by my dad. Our children were baptized in Indiantown Presbyterian Church by my dad. And many Tanner family reunions were held in Indiantown at the clubhouse there. And attending these family reunions is where I got the theme for the 2022 district conference. Please join us on March 11th through the 13th on sunny Hilton Head for the district conference. Shameless plug. This is where I got the family reunion theme, and it's why you're eating barbecue tonight, chicken, macaroni and cheese, and it's why you also are enjoying the desserts that were made by Elaine Tanner, Jennifer Tanner Walter, and my daughters. If you didn't get enough cake, please take some home. If you don't want to take it home, I think they got a little overzealous in their either the slices that weren't cut thick enough, or y'all didn't eat enough. Please take some home. But these are the memories that I take from this hometown. And finally, I couldn't be here today without knowing that this is one of the closest locations that I could be to my brother Ted. So, Ted's passing created another why for me. As we know, our number one priority in Rotary is eradication of polio. And in the vein of encouraging vaccinations, I'm committed to see to the end, just as all Rotarians should be, the eradication of polio. On July 1st, we begin our Run with Bernie challenge. Where's Bernie? I'll be joining many of you in those efforts to raise awareness, raise a little money to end polio now, and get a little healthier. Ted was a walker from time to time, so I'll be doing the miles. I'll be doing it for Teddy. When I get tired and think I can't do any more, I'll be thinking of him. So this is the why. This is the why we're here today. We're not in Hilton Head. The state where we live in has many parts that make up me. And I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful to not have that single hometown. But if I did, I think we'd be here today. To the presidents and the assistant governors, I look forward to joining you in your communities and visiting, to hear and see the good works that you and your club members do and will do this coming year. As I said at Pets, I want to be a resource. I may not know all the answers, but I can work with you to serve your members in your clubs and find the answers. We should be operating our clubs with the Rotary's core values in mind. The world today is not the same as what it was in 1905. But what hasn't changed is the need for the values that define Rotary: fellowship, integrity, diversity, service, and leadership. We need to assess where we are in each club, understand the needs of our community after the pandemic, and how your club can reach out to those needs that you've identified. We have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to look at how we meet, train, hold conferences. This is our chance to look at how things have been done in the past and how things are done now and will move forward. Take a quote from Teddy Roosevelt: "The more we know about our past, the better we are prepared for our future." I'm a genealogist, an amateur one at that. For years, I've looked through the basements of county courthouses, looking for recorded documents, traipsing through cemeteries to find grave markers, as my daughters have said. Doing all this in an effort to find our family story. These pieces and parts of our history that I've discovered are all part of what is my makeup and shapes me as a part of my family. My knowing my family history has helped, and it's helped me know who and where I've come from. And some of this knowledge is not so good, but some of it I'm very proud of and proud to be a part of. We as Rotarians need to know where we've come from so that we can understand it and how we may move forward in the future. I've read several books about our founder, Paul Harris. Yeah, I'm one of those nerds who reads books about Paul Harris, but it's interesting. He has a varied background. I mean, he set out with a network with some of his contemporaries for fellowship and for business relationships that could be developed into other service opportunities within his community. Our now international organization has grown from its original room, 711, in the Unity Building in Chicago in 1905. It's led to the adventures in service that have proved to benefit our communities and the world. We're like-minded individuals who come together in the clubs to do good in the world. We all come from varied backgrounds, which helps to be more successful. Like my ancestral background is varied, it makes me what I am and helps me with what I think, say, or do. We may agree on topics, we may disagree on topics, but in the end, we have understanding of everyone's opinion. We share a common good of Rotary and move forward so that the collective group with a singular focus can serve to change lives. So together we're going to serve to change lives this year. Eradicate polio. Hopefully, we're just down to 2 countries. I think Bernie's going to get it done. We're going to each one bring one. Each member is asked to bring a member into Rotary this year. We want to focus on empowering girls. Being the father of 2 girls, I certainly understand that and live with it on a daily, day-to-day life. And then doing good in the world. So I asked you this year, though, to make some connections. It's these connections, for me, that's the power of Rotary, and it makes it special. It's like the one that Jennifer and Ann, we talked about. Ann was speaking at a district conference a number of years ago. She mentioned the word Lake City, and I don't think I've ever seen Jennifer move so fast to get up to the back of the stage where Ann was coming off, I think almost tackled her, to talk about Lake City and then to talk about Indiantown. And as we all know, it's really Roper's Crossroads, which is near Indiantown. But after that, they got to talk, and they got to talk some about home. And as Ann mentioned, it wasn't long before they realized that Johnny and Ann had gone to elementary school together. So it's just those connections that are amazing. Another connection, my brother Perry and Jimmy Williamson, wherever Jimmy is, went to Winthrop together. Fraternity brothers. So who knew? But it's these connections through Rotary. And how I, a Northwestern graduate and a Wofford graduate, could work with the Citadel grad, Mike DeCosta, or a Rock Hill grad, Bob. And Bob reminded me that there was no Northwestern when he was there, but there is today. And we all know who's better. We know our differences, and we recognize these differences, and it makes us come together for the future district leadership team and make it a success, as it all has been for the predecessors that came before us. This is my why of service above self, and this is really where the why comes into play, or my service above, when I got to work with these guys. All joking aside, it's our differences as Rotarians that allow us to find progress and success. So in closing, let's figure out our why. Let's assess where we are as clubs and see how we can move forward. Make connections, and by all means, have some fun doing good in the world. Thank you.